Hi, I'm Marshall. I'm the owner of Going Gear. Now, a while back I made a video about my EDC, or my everyday carry. So if you're not familiar with what that term means, it's the stuff that you have on you at all times. So the things that are always in your pockets, the watch you have on your wrist if you wear one of those, your cell phone, those kind of things. Basically the stuff you have on you at all times. Now, I had a lot of people asking me about what my EDC was before I made the video, and I still have a lot of people asking me about it. That's why I made this video, to give you guys an update. I never really understood why, before I made the original video, like why people would be interested. And one of my friends explained it to me, like, Marshall, you have access to a lot of stuff. You have access to a lot of different flashlights. You know, thousands of models of flashlights and knives and watches and wallets and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of interesting, the stuff that you would carry. And when he explained it like that, I was like, well, I guess that makes sense. You know, what does the guy carry that has access to all this different stuff? So anyway, this is the update video for 2014, the stuff that I'm currently carrying. I said I don't change it very often in the last video. That was a lie. I used to not change it very often. I've been kind of bad about going through different knives and flashlights and stuff like that recently, but I usually stick with stuff for a good 6 months or so. And since everybody's going to ask, yes, those are all the flashlights that I'm working on reviewing behind me. Since I know a lot of people are going to say, what do you have all those flashlights behind you for? Those are the ones that are in the queue for reviewing. So you can see how many I have in my queue at any given time. So anyway, let's take a look at the stuff that I carry for 2014. So I start out my day by taking a look at all my knives and deciding which ones I'm going to carry for that day. So I'm sure you've heard the saying that 8 is 7 and 4 is none. You know, you got to be prepared for any sort of situation. So I make sure that I have plenty of edge tools on me at any given time. So I'll take 4 or 5 folders and stash them all over the place. You know, I'll have a couple in my pockets. I have a neck sheath. I'll put some on my belt. I'll put one in my shoe. You know, make sure I just have them stashed all over the place just in case, you know, any sort of situation arises where I don't have access to one and I need to get to another one. And then of course I'll take a couple of fixed blades as well. I'll put one in my boot. I'll put one in a belt sheath. I've got a drop sheath for them. These are great knives from Blind Horse, and I'll stash them all over the place. And of course, my EDC flashlight, this is what I carry. It's a 4D mag light. I'm sure many of you guys have seen it in my videos. It's just a fantastic light. This is what I carry on a daily basis. So hopefully it's obvious that I'm totally kidding about all this. You know, I love all these knives, but I only carry one knife, one flashlight at any given time. Let's take a look at what those are. Alright, so here's the stuff that I actually carry on a daily basis, minus one of the knives and flashlights, depending on the day. So let's talk about the couple of things that I don't have here on the table. My wedding ring, I am still married, still have the same wedding ring. My watch, I think I had a Suunto Core in the original video. So then after that, I had the Ambit. This is the Suunto Ambit 2. Pretty cool watch, has some really nice advanced features. So it's one of their triple sensor watches, has the altimeter / barometer, thermometer, and compass, and also a GPS built into it. It's open source, so you can actually develop apps for the watch itself. It's pretty neat. USB rechargeable, all kinds of cool stuff on here. Suunto Ambit 2, I've been really happy with it. I'll do a more full-fledged review on that at a later date. Stuff I have here on the table, my keys. You know, I did this in the previous video, and I wanted to make note of it because I'm sure people are wondering why I have post-it notes on my keys. I know it's relatively easy to break into things, but somebody that's even halfway talented with making keys can see a key and make one. And, you know, it's not exactly a secret where my store is and all those kind of things. So, not that, again, that it's hard to break into things, but why make it easier for people? So I posted notes on my keys, so it's not super easy to copy them just watching the video. So I have a Ford F-150, I got that key, got my house key, then I have the store key. And I actually picked this up not too long ago. It's a little red LED built into the key, which I actually find surprisingly useful. You know, you get home and you forgot to leave the light on, or you don't have motion sensor lights or anything like that. It's kind of nice to be able to see the keyhole easily when you're carrying a newborn. You know, you got somebody screaming in your ear. It helps relieve some of the stress and get your key into the hole pretty quickly and easily. Still have the little 32 gig USB keychain on there. I've been really happy with this. I've had it for quite a while. It's held up really well. I keep important documents and stuff on there, or, you know, something I need to transfer quickly and easily. It's nice to have a little backup like that. And this thing is tiny and weighs nothing. So something I should probably mention, one thing you're going to notice with all of this stuff is that this is all stuff that I use all the time. So I use all of this stuff mostly on a daily basis. Anything in my wallet, if it doesn't need to be there, you know, for insurance reasons or whatever, it's all stuff that I use at least on a weekly basis. So this is everything I use on a regular basis. We have a lot of people ask us, what should you have in your EDC? And that's completely up to you. What do you feel comfortable with? What do you want to carry? What's your comfort level? It's kind of like going out into the woods with a backpacking tent and a sleeping pad and a sleeping bag and everything to keep you super comfortable versus going out there with just a fixed blade. What's your comfort level? What can you handle? What do you want to do on a daily basis? So if it's not something that I use personally on a daily basis, I don't carry it. If you want to carry a little Maxpedition organizer with a survival kit with you every day, cool. It's totally up to you. So anyway, other stuff that we have here on the table, I have my phone. So I actually recorded this video a little over a month ago, and I had to re-record it because my phone at the time was on the fritz. The screen actually stopped working. The LED backlighting in it stopped working. The screen actually still worked, but I had to shine a flashlight at it to get it to work. So a couple days after I shot the video, I got a new phone and actually picked up a new knife as well. So I decided to go ahead and reshoot the video. Anyway, it's the HTC M8. I've been really happy with it. If you watch our Instagram page or Facebook or anything like that, a lot of the crappy photography on there is taken with either this phone or my little Micro Four Thirds camera, which I've also been really happy with. This is sort of an EDC. I do have this guy with me quite a bit, but not every day, and it's not always in my pockets or on my hand and wrist. So anyway, other stuff that we have here. So I have two knives here. I do not carry two knives on a daily basis. I only ever carry one, but I recently picked up this one, so I've been kind of swapping between these two. You can see this is the Zero Tolerance 566. I've been really happy with it. I did another video on that and talked about how much I liked it, and I do still really like this knife. You can see I've been using it quite a bit outside, so we got some of that Georgia red clay ingrained on it. This thing's seen a decent amount of use, even though I haven't had it for too long. I've been really happy with it. Cool knife. Anyway, I've got a more in-depth review on that. And this is the new 770 CF. So 770 with carbon fiber, super lightweight. Just another knife for me to have. Normally I am not very big on carrying different things. I get a knife and I carry it for 2 years. The same with flashlights. I get a flashlight and I carry it for a couple of years. I don't really change up this stuff very often. But I got this, or we got these in. I thought it was super cool. I really liked it. But I really like my 566 too. So I decided to actually start switching between a couple different knives. So for the first time in a long time, I'm not carrying the same knife all the time. I got a couple of those that I go between. My wallet here is just a simple little front pocket wallet. I like to have my wallet in my front pocket. Again, my philosophy with all this stuff is if I don't use it all the time, I'm not going to carry it. And with my wallet, my Costco card that I use probably 4 times a week, if I'm not using it all the time, it's not going to be in here unless it's something like my ID or my insurance card that I have to have in here. So I try to keep this relatively slim. I don't stuff it full of receipts and all kinds of stuff that I've accumulated over years. I try to keep things relatively simple. My pen, I write a lot of stuff, have to sign a lot of stuff, so I like to have a nice pen on me. So this is the Fisher Space Pen. It's the Infinium series. If you're not familiar with these, the Fisher Space Pens, they have relatively small cartridges. This thing, the entire thing is an ink cartridge. So this whole thing is filled with ink. And there's so much ink in here that they actually guarantee this. So if it ever runs out of ink, if you happen to be the guy that happens to kill this thing, then they'll give you another one for free. Which, considering that it's a relatively expensive, especially for a space pen, it's kind of cool. So if you ever use one of these up, then they just give you another one for free. So this is the Infinium, and this is the one that's the black tie nitride coating. Burt's Bees chapstick. Been using these things for many, many years. Dry skin, dry lips, it's good to have. And if you're ever in a survival situation, you can use it as a fire starter and all that other stuff, but I've never been in that situation. I just use it on my lips. Couple of flashlights that I have here. Olight S10, Spark SF3, and this is the neutral white. I kind of switch between these two. The Olight I absolutely love, and one of the big reasons that I love it is because it has that magnet there on the end. So we have these attached to lamps and everything all over the house, just in case you need a flashlight quick and ready, in an emergency, the power goes out, or you hear something bump in the night. It's nice to have these stashed all over the place. So S10 baton. I really like this little guy, powered by a single 123. I have a very in-depth review on that one, and I'll have a very in-depth review on this one out pretty soon. Spark SF3, kind of a cool little light, whole lot of lumens coming out of it, little XML2 LED down in there. Neutral white, I actually really like the colors that this thing puts out. So really good colors out at night. So if you're walking around and you want to see greens and browns, you're walking around in your neighborhood, things actually look green and brown, so it's kind of cool. They give a nice little hit of carbon fiber, recessed switch. I've been really happy with both of these flashlights. So kind of like the knife, you know, usually when I have a flashlight, I carry it for a very long time. But I was carrying an S10 for a little over a year, and then this one came out, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool too. So I kind of switched between these two. You know, now that I look at it, these kind of match, so maybe I should carry these two and these two. That's literally the first time I've ever noticed that. So maybe I'll start matching those up and doing those on alternating days or weeks or something like that. So anyway, that's my EDC. You know, that's one of the most common questions I get on YouTube is, Marshall, what do you carry on a daily basis? So if you're ever wondering, this is it. You know, and if I change this majorly, again, I don't do that very often. I'll make an update video so you guys can see what I'm carrying. A lot of this stuff you can get from us at Going Gear. You know, we're not selling phones, or we actually do sell wallets, but we have Maxpedition and stuff like that. We don't sell phones, but we can sell you the knives. We'll sell you the pin, sell you the watch, we'll sell you the flashlights. Not selling vehicles quite yet. But a lot of the stuff you can get from us at goinggear.com. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, just let me know in the comments or drop us a line at goinggear.com. And that's it. Thanks for watching.